Shri Gurubhyo Namah Harihi Om Dhyayamo Dhavalavagunthanavatim Tejomayim Naishtikim Snigdhapangavilokinim Bhagavatim Mandasmitashremukhim Vatsalyamritavarshiniim Sumadhuram Sankirtanalapinim Shyamangim Madhusiktasuktim Amritanandatmikam Ishwari Om Amriteshwaryai Namah Om Amriteshwaryai Namah Om Amriteshwaryai Namah. Om Amriteshwaryai Namah. Welcoming you all back after a gap. We couldn't have the sessions as planned from Amritapuri as I was there because I was quite a bit caught up with a few things, especially with the C20 initiatives going on. In any case, happy to resume it today and happy that you have all joined us today. So far, we've looked at the 21 verses of Hanuman Chalisa, and the last when we discussed the 20th and the 21st. And today, we will look into 3 more verses, the 22nd, 23rd, and the 24th verses. Today's verses are focused more on the grace, the protection, the safeguarding that the divine gives, or the feeling of protection that we feel through the path of devotion. That's primarily the focus of the 3 verses. That's why I combined all the 3 together rather than 2, because all 3 more or less focused on that. So we'll get to the verses right away so that we have enough time to discuss all 3 of them within the hour. So the 22nd verse goes as सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना और शरणा, either one. तुम रक्षक और तुम रक्षक, both are fine. काहू को डरना. And then 23rd one, आपन तेज संहारो आपै, तीनों लोक हाँकते कापै. 24th, भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे. So these are the 3 verses we'll discuss today. Let's look into the pronunciation first in 4 parts. I will pronounce it first. Please respond after me once, as we have done in the previous sessions. Sab sukh lahai. सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना. We can do it as sarana or sharana. Both are fine. Because it is mentioned with a bar on top of the S, we'll put it as sharana here. Tumhari sharana. Please respond. Tumhari sharana. Tum rakshak. We can do rakshak or rakshak. Both are fine. Because it is mentioned as rakshak here, we'll go with that. Tum rakshak. Tum rakshak. Kahu ko darna. Kahu ko darna. So I'll read it out all together once. Please respond after me after that. सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी शरणा, तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना. सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी शरणा, तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना. We'll move on to the 23rd. We'll look into the pronunciation first in 4 parts. Please respond after me. Apan tej. Apan tej. Samharo apai. Samharo apai. Tino lok. Tino lok. There's a tino, there's a M after that. So in typical North Indian languages, instead of mentioning it as tinom, we will make the N-O nasal. Tino, tino, tino lok, tino lok. Hankte kape, hankte kape. So all together, Apan tej samharo आपै, तीनों लोक हाँकते कापै. आपन तेज संहारो आपै, तीनों लोक हाँकते कापै. 24th one. भूत पिशाच. भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, निकट नहीं आवे. महावीर जब, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे, नाम सुनावे. All together. भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे. भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे. So what does the 22nd verse tell us? Sab sukh lahai. Sab, everything. Sukh, feeling the pleasant feeling, feeling comfortable, feeling nice, feeling happy. Lahai, to feel. So sab sukh lahai. Everything feels nice or everything feels pleasant and happy. When? Tumhari, or where? Tumhari sharana. Where tumhari, your sharana, at your feet. So when we take refuge in you, everything feels nice. Everything or every moment is happy moment. Sab sukh lahai tumhari sharana. Tum rakshak. Tum, you, rakshak. You are the savior. You are the protector. If you are the savior, you are the protector. Kahu ko darna. Kahu, of what? Kahu ko, of what? Darna. Should I be scared of? Should I fear? What should I fear? Or what should I be scared of when you are there to protect me? So one feels in complete bliss, in complete happiness once they take refuge in you. And when you are there to protect them, what is there to fear? Or where is the room for fear? Is the 22nd verse. The 23rd verse goes as Apan tej samharo apai. Apan, your own. Tej, your own, the sheen, your radiance or your own might. In this context, it's more than radiance, it's your own might. So your own might, samharo, destroys apai, your own self. So what does it mean? If at all someone can win against you, it is your own self. No one else can win against you. If someone has to win over you, it is your own self. Tino lok, tino, the three, lok, the three worlds. Hankte, on your roar or on your might. Hankte. kape, they would shiver. All the three worlds would shiver, would tremble on your roar or on your might, on your power. Tino lok hankate kape. So that kind of highlights the power of Lord Hanuman. 24th verse says, Bhoot Pishach. Bhoot, typically used, the term used for referring to ghosts. Pishach, evil forces or evil spirits, evil forces. Nikat, close, near. Nahi, ave. Nahi, not. Ave, come. So, when we have you, when you have your protection, when we have your grace, the ghosts or none of the negative forces would ever come even to my, even near my proximity, or would never be anywhere near me, would not dare come near me. Mahavir, Lord Hanuman. Mahavir is the name of Lord Hanuman, which basically translates to one who is the very courageous one or supremely courageous one. Jab, when. Naam, name. Naam, name. Sunave, when one hears your name, no negative forces can even come near me. I'm always protected when I keep chanting your name. So these are the three verses we are going to look at today. So the first verse basically highlights when one takes refuge in you, the only experience is that of bliss. And when you are there to protect, what is there to fear? There is no room for fear. And talking about the might, if at all someone can overcome you, someone can, win over you, it is your own self, no one else. And third, when your name is being pronounced, when your name is called out, no evil forces, no negative forces can come anywhere near me or near there. So these are the three verses. We look at it, we definitely do discuss about this when we say, call out to the divine and nothing can affect you, no evil forces can come or affect you, etc. That faith is definitely what protects us. That faith is what our strength would be of a devotee's, would be the strength of the devotee. But it would be nice if we have that faith with understanding rather than just blindly believing, oh, I call out to Hanuman, nothing wrong will happen to me. Rather than that, we should try to have that faith out of understanding. So that's what we'll try to do today. Try to just understand it a little better. Not that I have the perfect knowledge about it. I'm just going to share some of my views about it, of how when we have faith, we can have that shield, that protection of divine grace. So the first verse talks about Sharana. What is it? Sab sukh lahay tumhari Sharana. Sharana, at your feet, when I take refuge in you, when I take sharan in you, when I take refuge in you, I always feel happy. I always would be in bliss. When we talk about refuge, surrender, definitely there can be a misconception of giving up or giving in. Refuge or surrender is definitely nothing to do with giving up or giving in. The fighting spirit, the courage, the attitude of facing situation should always be there. It's not about giving up or telling I just am not going to face. I'm just giving it up to the divine to take care of. That's not the attitude we are talking about. Yes, we can get to that attitude at a certain level with wisdom, but that is completely different. So when we talk about surrender and refuge, let us always be clear, it's not about giving up or giving in. Surrender is where we do our part the best we can, give our best to whatever we would want to do or whatever we venture into. And then once the action is done, we develop the attitude of acceptance after that. We recognize that after that, nothing is under my control. The outcome could be any way it could be. That is surrender. So do your part, we do our part as well as we could. and then develop the attitude of acceptance. That is actually surrender. Looking into Amma's words in Awakened Children, Volume 2, page 40. I'll just read out the excerpt from Awakened Children, Volume 2. Amma says, if you find it difficult, then you should pray before doing the work. Oh, my beloved Lord, I am going to do this work. Please give me enough mental strength and to do it as a worship for you. Help me to do this work with the right attitude. This is yours, not mine. I am doing it with your power, not mine. Then do the work sincerely with concentration and as best as you can without thinking of the fruit. Try to derive happiness from the spirit in which you are doing the work. When it is over, again pray, O Lord, thank you for your blessing and guidance. I now surrender both the actions and its fruits at your feet. When this is practiced daily and constantly, it will become spontaneous. Once the work is done, having put in as much effort as you can with an attitude of surrender, then there is no need to worry thinking about the fruit. Fruit is something which will manifest in the future. Worrying about the past or the future is meaningless. The former is no more. It has no validity. Even if you go on brooding about things that went wrong in the past, they will never be corrected. The future is also not in your hands. It is controlled by the Supreme. A true devotee who has surrendered everything to the Supreme will not worry about the past or the future. For him, whatever happens is God's will. He accepts everything as his prasad. So what do we hear from Amma? There is definitely no discount in the effort that we put in. We definitely need to put in the effort, and as we put in the effort, we need to have the attitude of non-doership, the attitude of humility, and then once the action is done, to develop the attitude of acceptance. All that put together is surrender. So again, reiterating the point, surrender is not about giving in or giving up. The Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, there's a very popular verse that most of us would have heard very many times and are quite familiar with. Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Karmani eva adhikarahte. Your authority, your will is where when you perform the action. You have complete authority over it. You can perform the action in any way you want, with whatever attitude you want, whatever methodology you want to adopt. It is completely up to you. But ma phaleshu kadachana, never on the fruit. The fruit, the outcome of the action that you perform is not really under your control. So ever perform the action with that understanding. And then the second part of the verse says, Ma karma phala hetur bhu, ma te sangostva karmani. Ma karma phala hetur bhu. Never do the action expecting a particular outcome either. Or another way of interpreting that is, never consider yourself being the cause of that result. Never think that the result is what you are producing. There are so many, very many more factors that are involved, which we need to recognize for the outcome to happen. So never think that you alone are the power that are generating the result. And then, mate sangostva karmani. At the same time, don't give up. Don't incline towards non-action, inaction. Don't incline towards that too. Now, we may have this attitude telling, sometimes we may feel bad about something and say, I'm not coming to the satsang anymore. That's not the solution. I'm not going out with my friends anymore because they are all bad. Or I'm not doing this anymore. That I'm not doing it. It should not be out of this attitude wherein something that I wanted didn't happen, so I don't want to do it. That's the wrong attitude. So that's what it says. Mate sangostu akarmani. Sanghatu akarmani. It should not be that we incline towards not doing anything either. So we need to develop all these four things. Keep all these four things in mind when we perform an action. We have complete authority over what we do. Once what we have done, the outcome, there are so many other factors that play a role. Recognize that. Third, the outcome that comes is not completely under your control. You alone aren't the cause for the outcome. Fourth, at the same time, never incline towards not doing anything. So all these four. So all these four put together is where surrender comes. So surrender, let's summarize what surrender is in 2 points. The first point is to take responsibility, to develop enthusiasm, to develop love, to have that drive, to have the right attitude in performing your duties, in performing the actions that we venture into. That is first part of it. And then once the action is performed, develop the attitude of acceptance. That is the first part of surrender, or the point one of surrender. The outcome may not always be the way we want it to be. The last session, we discussed about the 3 factors that play a role in any situation that we are in. Just the last session, which is about a month ago now. So I thought I'll repeat that so that we refresh our memory. We talked about 3 factors: adhyatmikam, adhibhautikam, adhidaivikam. Adhi basically means something that is subjugated to. What is the situation subjugated to? 1, atmikam, bhautikam, daivikam. 3 factors. Atmikam, relating to our own self, our mental state, our mood, our abilities, our disabilities, etc. Bhautikam, the physical realm, things and people around us. So things, people around us, the weather, the location, all that has an effect on how the situation is going to be. So bhautikam. So adhyatmikam, adhibhautikam, and adhidaivikam. Factors that are beyond me and the physical realm. There are so many factors that we cannot verbally explain or mentally perceive. It can just happen beyond our control. We did look into the example of writing an exam the last time when we had this discussion. The last session, what did we discuss? When we have an exam round the corner, we can study. We can take note of all the material, and we can take care of our health so that we are well enough to take the exam. We can prepare ourselves physically, mentally, build up confidence. All that is under our control, completely under our control. We can definitely define them as well as we can. All those fall under adhyatmikam, which is completely under our control. Second is adhibhautikam. There are factors like during the exam, the room can get very cold. We can run out of ink in our pen, or someone near me keeps sneezing, or someone near me keeps coughing, or the power fails. There could be many such factors. These are factors that are not completely under my control, but partially under my control. If my ink finishes, my ink in my pen dries out, I can always ask one of my friends to lend me a pen. Or if the weather is, if the temperature is too cold, I can do something about it. I can request that the temperature be increased. So it is not completely under my control, but I can still do something about it. At times I cannot do anything about it. But it is partially under my control. This is what we need to understand. Third, adhidaivikam, factors that are completely beyond our control. After I write the exam, the invigilator or the professor who is verifying or looking, is scoring my exam, if he's in a bad mood, had a fight with his or her spouse, or is a pessimist in approach, we can't do anything. Definitely getting an A+, chances are very slim. They are much beyond our control. So in any given situation, when we perform an action, we should be aware of all these three factors. Is what this karmanyeva adhikaraste, the verse is trying to teach us, or even the excerpt that we read from Awakened Children Amma's words is what is trying to teach us. It is trying to teach us that be aware of the first and the second factor. The first factor, which is completely under your control, so exercise your authority. The second one is partially under your control, still exercise your authority whenever possible. But at the same time, recognize the second half of the second factor, Adhi Bhautikam and Adhi Devikam, are beyond your control. Recognize that and develop the attitude of acceptance. So that when we perform an action with that attitude is when it becomes surrender. So that's the first point. Do your action with as much that you can give into it, and then develop the attitude of acceptance thereafter is one. The second point about surrender that both the Bhagavad Gita and Amma's Awakened Children excerpt stressed upon is to let go of the ego. Even when we perform the action, it is said that we have complete authority. That doesn't mean I can just do whatever I want. I still have to respect a lot of rules. I'll have to respect a lot of norms that I have to follow. Only then what I perform will be well performed, right? So be respectful of those limitations. For that, we'll have to let go of my ego. So I write my exam. I can't just write whatever I want. If it is a biology exam, I have to write biology answers. I can't do mathematics there. Or if I'm writing my exam, I can't just write with a golden ink. There may be rules. Answer your questions with blue or black ink. We have to stick to that. We have to let go of our ego there and stick to what is required. So when we do it with complete authority, but we should always keep our ego under check. So that is the second point about surrender. So again, that doesn't mean give in or give up. Do your best, but with the understanding, even doing my best has to fit into a framework, has to fit into a set of restrictions. Any situation that we are in will have some context or the other. So we should fit into that context. So that is the second one. That's why the Bhagavad Gita verse, the second part said, Ma karma phala heturbhu. Never think that the result is your own creation alone. There are so many other factors. All of those factors falling in place or coming together is what is going to produce the result. So be aware of that. So the 2 points. One, I'm just repeating it. Sorry for being redundant. The first point was to do your action with as much that you can give into it. After performing the action, develop the attitude of acceptance. The second point, while doing the action, let go of the ego. These are the two ways, or the two things when put together is when we are practicing surrender. Again, reiterating, it's not giving up or giving in. And who is one of the best examples for this? Lord Hanuman, who we are focusing on. He never remained uncommitted, never remained inactive, right? Whenever the situation demanded an action, he would always spring into action. He would never say, I don't want to do this, right? So, mate sangostva karmani, he's following that. He's not subscribing to inaction, not subscribing to inactivity, being uncommitted. Second, he never fails in doing his part with complete enthusiasm, giving his 100% into it and with love, right? So karmanyeva adhikaraste, he has complete control over his action and he exercises that. And we have seen so many incidents from Ramayana that we have discussed in the previous sessions, wherein when he is asked to do something, he just does it. Sanjeevani, to bring the herbs, rather than just bringing the herbs and wasting time looking for the herbs, he just brings the whole mountain back, right? Dronagiri back. So he gives his 100% into it. And third, when he does something, he does it with doesn't do it with the attitude of doership or with ego. He always practices humility as he does the action. These are the three things we see in Hanuman. And that is the perfect example of surrender, because he would always do an action dedicating it to Lord Rama. So when we have a guru, when we have Amma in our life, it becomes all the more easy to practice surrender. Not that I'm giving up and giving in, telling let Amma take care of everything. That's not the thing. We do our part as well as I could, but anchoring our thoughts, anchoring our confidence on Amma, on the Guru. So that is the example Lord Hanuman set. And when you say, so sab sukh lahe tumhari sarana, taking refuge in Hanuman, one is always in bliss. What does it mean when you say take refuge in Hanuman? It is to reach the state of egolessness, to reach the state of letting go of my likes and dislikes. And when we reach that state, of course, there is going to be no expectations. And when there are no expectations, what is the experience we have? The only experience we'll have is that of joy. When there is no expectation, we can't help but be joyful. Very simple. So, very simple to understand, but very difficult to put it into action. So, we need to get to that state. Sab sukh lahe tumhari sarana. Get to that state wherein we go beyond our likes and dislikes. Get to that state of egolessness. Once we get there, automatically, we'll only be joyful. A good example to understand is recently we had the FIFA World Cup, right? Happened in Qatar. The football World Cup or the soccer World Cup. And then with all the very many different games that happened, finally France and Argentina made it into the finals, and they were supposed to play the finals. There are three kinds of people who did watch the finals in the stadium and in front of TV screens. What are the three categories of people? One, who wanted France to win. Two, those who wanted Argentina to win. Three, those who didn't really care. Those who probably were supporting Qatar. Those who probably were supporting Italy. They didn't really care who won. They were just there to enjoy the finals. Or some were even ignorant of how the game goes, and they were just watching it because everyone was watching, and they were going with the fervor, the excitement there. So if you look at the first and the second category of people, their level of happiness during the course of the game, and that game was actually a very special finals game, right? It was swinging. First Argentina scores, then after some time France scores, then Argentina scores again, France scores again, Argentina scores, France scores again. They stop in an equalizer. Then there is penalty shootout to decide who's going to win. Again, it was quite a thrilling experience there. It was quite a bit of suspense until almost down the wire, until the very end. It was quite full of suspense. So think of those who were supporting Argentina and France. Their level of happiness and sorrow was definitely swinging up and down. As Argentina scored, the first group, their happiness went up. The second group's happiness went down. When France scored, the second group's happiness went up. The first group's happiness went down. And that was the case. Their emotions kept swinging up and down throughout the game. But the third group, those who were not really supporting Argentina or France, for them, it was just joyful. Whenever they saw Messi score a goal, they enjoyed. When they saw Mbappe score a goal, they enjoyed it. It didn't really matter. Their emotion was just being joyful. So when they didn't have expectations, when they really didn't expect a particular outcome, what happened? Their attitude was that of surrender. That's what we refer to as surrender. Whatever happens, I'm here not to see a particular team win. I'm here to see football win. I'm here to see the game of soccer win. That's all what I'm here for. And because they have that attitude, automatically what happens? All they have is just joy. All they experience is just joy. So true surrender is that state wherein we go beyond ego. and beyond expectations. When that happens, we are always blissful. So that's why it says when you take refuge in Hanuman, doesn't mean just go out there, rush to Hanuman, just hold on to his feet. That alone isn't refuge. Refuge is when I imbibe the qualities that you exemplify. I imbibe that in me. That is true refuge. And when I take that refuge, I will but only experience joy. Sab sukh lahe. I'll have only happiness and joy. Okay. And then the 22nd verse also says, the second part says, Tum rakshak kahu ko darna. When you are there as my protector, where is there room for fear? What should I fear? Once we surrender, it automatically comes with the feeling of relief. Like the example Amma gives, when we board onto the train, or once we board onto the airplane, then carrying the bag on our head or on our shoulder or in our hands is of no use. It's a meaningless thing to do. There is no point carrying the bag thereafter. Either put it under your seat or put it up in the overhead bin and just enjoy the flight. Just relax. Don't carry the burden anymore. So once we are on the airplane, once we take refuge, these things will automatically come with us. Let us practice a bit of detachment. So once we surrender, automatically relief comes along with that. So once we have that relief, then there is no room for fear thereafter. And we see how Hanuman, different episodes that we have seen from Ramayana, wherein when someone takes refuge in Hanuman, or once someone counts on Hanuman, Hanuman never fails in helping them out. We have seen so many incidents from Ramayana, right, over the last several sessions that we have discussed. One more to discuss about. Now the war is going on between Rama, the monkey army, against Ravana and his mighty army. And today actually happens to be Hanuman Jayanti. Actually, tomorrow morning here in India, it's already Hanuman Jayanti today. Hanuman's the birthday of Lord Hanuman. So all the more special that we are discussing Hanuman Chalisa today. So because it is Hanuman Jayanti, someone sent me this particular video on WhatsApp. And this video, a person was talking, comparing Rama and Ravana. Both of them are facing each other. The armies are facing each other. In every way, just looking at the mundane level, looking at it at just logical level, Ravana had the advantage. He was much mightier. Let us keep aside the fact that Lord Rama was the incarnation of Lord Vishnu. He could have gotten anything done. But in this case, he has taken a human form and he's following the rules or the conditions of being in a human form. So looking at it at that level, let's keep aside Lord Rama being an incarnation. Looking at it, Ravana had all forms of advantage. He was very explicitly devoted to Lord Shiva. He had a lot of boons from Lord Shiva. Rama wasn't anything like that. If you just look at it logically, don't take offense in thinking I'm belittling Rama. I'm no one to belittle Rama. We are just looking at it logically, considering it at face value. That's why these points. So Ravana was much more established in that. 2, Ravana had much mightier an army, and all Rama had were a bunch of monkeys with him, the monkey army, and they didn't even have established weapons with them either. They were just there wholeheartedly with sincerity to help Rama. That was his strength. And then Ravana had the whole war was happening in Ravana's land, so he had that advantage too. It was in Lanka. He had his fort. He had all the other strategic points that he could utilize in his advantage. So he had all that advantage, and Lanka was known as Suvarna Lanka or Swarna Lanka, the Lanka that was made out of gold. It was as affluent as established. And Rama, all he had was a bunch of monkeys with him. He didn't really have even a fort to protect him during the war. So in every way, Ravana had the advantage. But still, the fact remains that Rama had the advantage. Why? The person said it was a very profound point. He said Rama had the advantage because he had Hanuman on his side. That was his biggest advantage. Anytime something went wrong, Hanuman would fling into action, would swing into action, and would come and rescue. And we have discussed so many of those. So this is one of those that we are going to discuss. Yet another situation or incident where Hanuman comes to help. So Ravana would use one demon or the other to, face the Rama's monkey army. And one by one, everyone got defeated. So one of Ravana's brothers, Kumbhakarna, huge Kumbhakarna, also got defeated. So Ravana went very crazy. He said, something needs to be done. I need to just completely annihilate Rama's army. Then he thinks of his good friend, a demon called Bhasmalochana. And he came out of the Patala Loka. He came from the nether worlds. He rose from the nether worlds. And what was peculiar about him was he looked ferocious, but his eyes were blindfolded. And he was just going hither and thither. He was just going aimlessly walking. But as he was doing that, he would trample. He was huge. So he would trample upon the monkey army and, creating a lot of destruction. So everyone was scared looking at this weird-looking asura, weird-looking demon who has come. Now they have to face. And they saw that though his eyes was blindfolded, it had a lot of glow. So they didn't know what was, what was on list for them. What are they really facing now? And then finally, he gets close to the army. When he gets close to the army, he unfolds his blindfold. And what, as the name suggests, Bhasma Lochana. Bhasma, ashes. Lochana, eyes. So he had the boon that with his mere sight, he can burn people down and turn them into ashes. That was his boon. So all he had to do was just look at all the army men and they would all perish. That was his strength. And the moment the monkey army found that, they completely lost their morale, and they were all running, trying to find a shelter somewhere they can hide so that his sight doesn't fall on them. And they were in complete disarray, and they couldn't face, and Rama's army was now losing. When such situation comes, what happens? Who comes to the rescue? Hanuman. But in this case, Hanuman didn't seem to be coming to the rescue. They couldn't find where Hanuman was. After some time, they see that they spot Hanuman, but rather than facing him, they see that Hanuman is fleeing. He's running away from the Asura, and that, deflates their morale all the more because they always count on Hanuman, and here they see Hanuman running away, and they feel all the more scared, and fear, sinks in. But they see Rama and Lakshmana aren't really worried. Then that gives them some assurance that he's not really fleeing, he's up to something. What happens? Hanuman keeps running as far as he could so that Bhasmalochana's sight doesn't fall on him. And then he ascends over one of Ravana's forts. And he goes over the building, he goes into the fort. It didn't make any sense. If at all someone wants to hide themselves, you are not going to go to the enemy's hideout and hide yourself there. You'll get killed. But he goes into the fort, and then he comes back with a huge metal slab. And he now runs towards Bhasmalochana. But Bhasmalochana is now busy, turning anything and everything that he sees into ashes. And Hanuman, rather than facing him, comes around and stands behind Bhasmalochana and gives him a strong blow. And Bhasmalochana is taken aback. Someone has given him a blow, and he turns around. The moment he turns around, Hanuman would turn into ashes, right? But Hanuman had a plan. What he held in his hand was a shiny metal surface, which more or less like a mirror. The moment he turns around, he shows the shining surface, Bhasmalochana's, his reflection to himself. And when Bhasmalochana looks at himself on the shiny surface, what happens? He turns into ashes. And with his own power, he gets killed. Hanuman didn't do anything. All he did was he just facilitated him destroying his own self. Self-ego is like that. Now our ego, the spiritual impart here is that we use our side to look at others' shortcomings, others' negativities, and we even try to advise them, telling, hey, you are too egoistic, better take care of this. But what we really need to do is look at our own reflection so that that side burns our own ego. That's what Bhasmalochana's episode represents. Look at your own self and with your side burn down your own ego, burn down your own pride, burn down your own negativities. That's what we need to do. So anyway, coming back to the story, Hanuman came to the rescue and everyone rejoiced. So whenever you take refuge in Hanuman, whenever you count on Hanuman, Hanuman definitely doesn't fail in delivering, in coming and protecting you. So that's why, what was the 22nd verse? It says, the 22nd verse, Tum rakshak kahu ko darna. When you are there to protect, what should I fear? There is no need to fear. Tum rakshak kahu ko darna. The 24th verse goes along with the same line. It says, Bhoot pishach nikat nahi aave, Mahavir jab naam sunave. When I call out to you, when I chant your name, evil forces, bhuta, pishacha, ghosts and evil forces will never, not even come near my proximity, is what the verse says. And I can very well relate to this. You have heard me mention this a zillion times. How when I was little, I had a few friends. I still remember 2 or 3 of these friends who used to constantly feed into me ghost stories. And that kind of got imbibed, imprinted in me. And I was never comfortable in darkness. And I've talked about it. Staying in the DC ashram alone was definitely a huge task for me to be alone here. And then I also once mentioned during the sessions how once earthquake happened here in Washington, D.C. It was a significant earthquake. So along with the darkness in night, the earthquake, probability of earthquake happening, all of them definitely, the earthquake did rattle me. The whole situation did rattle me, unsettle me. And whenever I've shared, whenever I was alone here back then, things have definitely changed now. So I'm all the more openly talking about it. So whenever this happened, what would I do? I mentioned it one of the earlier sessions. I would chant Hanuman Chalisa, and not just chant Hanuman Chalisa, literally scream Hanuman Chalisa. Or I would chant Amma's mantra, or the 1,000 names, or 108 names, or one of our bhajans. Rather than singing the bhajan or chanting the bhajan, I would scream the bhajan. Why? At least with my scream, if at all there is any ghost around, they will get scared, or I'll scare them away with my scream. And definitely it was a naive thought, a foolish thought to think about now. But then that's what I used to do. I was helpless. I was in this situation alone. So whatever came in my mind, I just did that. But thinking about it, it literally makes sense with this verse, the 24th verse. Bhoot pishach nikat nahi aave, Mahavir jab naam sunave. I call out to Hanuman singing Hanuman Chalisa, or I call out to Amma singing one of the bhajans, or 108 names, or the 1,000 names. Just not that, I didn't really know if I had the belief that Hanuman will come when I call out to him, or Amma will come when I call out to him. As a matter of fact, I also prayed, Amma, I'm calling out to you, but don't appear in front of me. Because if you suddenly appear in front of me, that will also scare me. So don't do that either. But then what gave me courage? It is that firm belief, or that trust, or that faith, which some way or the other brought courage within me. Just chanting the Hanuman Chalisa or chanting the 108 names just brought in some form of the courage, some form or the other of courage. How, why, it's difficult to explain, but just doing that brought courage in me. And for some time after chanting that, let it come, well, how do you say? Bring it on. Bring it on. I don't care. And after some time, it dissipates. Then I have to chant again before I say bring it on. So chanting the name or just remembering the divine, remembering Guru, Amma, or remembering Hanuman, brought within me some form of strength. So what exactly is it? When we chant the 108 names or when we chant the Hanuman Chalisa, we are reflecting on the qualities that Lord Hanuman represents. And at least temporarily, those qualities kind of awaken within us. And when they awaken within us, automatically there is no room for fear, at least until they remain awakened within us. If at all we can keep them awakened throughout, we will always be fearless. And that's what is the ultimate state of that a Mahatma is in. So, Bhoot Pishach nikat nahi aave, Mahavir jab naam sunave. No negative forces, no negativities can come anywhere near me if I keep chanting or whenever there is the name of Lord Hanuman taken. This is the essence behind that. We need to invoke Hanuman within us through those names. Then there is no room for fear. There's no room for any of these factors that create fear. So, tum rakshak ka hu ko darna. So you are there as my protector, my savior. What is there to fear? Why should I fear? And that fearlessness comes from within. The Hanuman within, the Amma within needs to be invoked. And then the 23rd verse says, Apan tej samharo apai. That's the last point. Hopefully we can cover it. We may need a little more time than 1 hour. Probably I'll try to cover it as well as I can. Apan tej samharo apai. What does it mean? Your own might alone can overcome you, can defeat you. Only your own might can do it. So Hanuman represents that ultimate state wherein once one reaches that ultimate state, that of the state of realization, the ultimate state of existence, one gets affected only by their own self. Things, people around, situations, they don't bother them. They don't affect them. One who is in that ultimate state completely dictate terms by himself, by herself. Things around, factors around, just don't bother them. And that's what this verse actually is trying to put forth. Though we are talking in terms of his might, but spiritually looking at it, one who has reached that ultimate state, who dictates term for him or her? Himself or herself, no one else. Recently, I had this session with the Ayud members. We have a monthly discussion session online, and this last week we had this discussion about self-confidence. And one of the points that we discussed was, you are what you are, and you aren't what you think others think you are. You are what you are. You aren't what you think others think you are. To simplify it, let us say, you are what you are. You are not what others think you are. It is very easily understood. But I added one more thing to it, because what others think about us is our own imagination. You know, as much as I am concerned about what others think about me, others are concerned about what I think of them. So for them, I am not the priority. Once in a while, they may tease us. Once in a while, they may advise us. But believe me, everyone is obsessed with their own image more than anything else. They are not bothered about how he is not. They are more bothered about how I am. So if at all we are thinking someone else is judging us, it is a thought that we have. It's an imagination that we have. That's why we are not what I think others think I am. because it's just a thought. So we are who we are. We are not what I think, or we are not what we think others think we are. The Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, there's a verse. Again, we have discussed this earlier in one of the Hanuman Chalisa sessions, so we'll not go deep into it. It basically says, Uddharet atmanatmanam na atmanam avasadayet atmeva hyatmano bandhu atmaiva ripuratmanaha. If I need to rise, who is going to help me rise? My own self, no one else. Others may be of help, but who needs to help me raise? My own self. And who is my best friend that way? My own self. And who could be my nemesis, or who could be my worst enemy? In that case, worst foe, my own self. Others could be just triggers, but finally it's me who decides how I am going to be and how I am not going to be. It's not others, it's not other things. We'll not go much deeper into it. I just wanted to remind yourselves of this verse. If you take the example of Amma, one of the dailies, one of the newspapers in India described Amma as a very successful individual. This was back in the 90s, early 90s, so almost 20 years ago now. 20, right? 20 years ago. They said Amma became a successful individual. Early 90s is 30 years ago? Sorry, 30 years ago. That just reminds me how old I'm getting. So they said Amma is a successful individual overcoming 4 kinds of barriers. Gender barrier. In the old times, especially in rural India, being a woman was not wherein you're in an advantageous position. Rural India, in spite of being a woman, Amma still overcame all the hurdles that she had to face. She had financial barriers. She was born in a poor family in a poor village. In spite of that, she is able to create such a positive impact in the world. She came with a language barrier. All Amma does is speak her mother tongue, Malayalam. In spite of that, she connects with millions around the world. And she had education barrier. She was a 4th grade or 5th grade dropout. Now she's Dr. Amma, that's a different thing. She has at least a bunch of PhD degrees, honorary degrees given to her. But she had education barrier. At least in the 90s, she had that education barrier. So if you really look into Amma's life, she got ridiculed. She got, she had hurdles to face in every phase of her life. When she was young, her family members were completely against what she was doing. She got ridiculed by her family. As she grew up, the villagers, the neighbors, they were ridiculing her. They were trying to go against what she did. As she grew more popular, people around, the rationalists, the atheists, they all got against Amma, and they were going out of way to somehow stop Amma from doing what she's doing. And then, eventually it even happened, people living in Amma's own ashram. Amma's people who were following Amma, who were with Amma at some point of time, they started speaking against Amma. Some of them did that. But none of these bogged Amma down. None of these stopped Amma. Why? Goes with this very same point. Amma dictates terms for herself. A realized master is such who would dictate terms for themselves. It's not someone else. It's not something else. Whatever people say, whether they praise, whatever people say, whether they ridicule you, doesn't bother them. And Amma always says, one who garlands you today can throw stones at you tomorrow. And one who throws stones at you today can garland you tomorrow. Better not be affected by either of the treatment. And a true Mahatma, a true realized master, ever stays in that state. That's why the point, if at all someone has to defeat you, it has to be your own self, not others or someone else. And when you have that attitude, the second part of the verse says, Tino lok haakate kape. The 3 worlds are under your control. All the 3 worlds. We have discussed about the 3 in the previous versions because we are in short of time. I'm not going into that. The 3 worlds are always under your control because you are the one who is dictating terms. And in this verse, it basically says, Tino lok hankte kape. One way of interpreting the term hankte kape, your roar, your might, the world trembles. I'm just reminded of a small incident recently, and we'll stop after that. A toddler, maybe a couple of years ago, a toddler I remember was around a toddler who was with us on one of the program tours that we had. And this toddler got hold of a tiger mask. And the toddler wore the tiger mask. The moment the toddler wore the tiger mask, the toddler thought he is the tiger, right? And he started creating this roaring sound. Definitely, it wasn't frightening at all. It was quite cute, as a matter of fact. But as he would roar with the mask on, people around will all act as if they are scared by him. And he sees that someone is not scared by him, he'll go up to them and roar. To make it a point, they will show as if they are trembling, they are scared. So what is making them scared or tremble is his attitude that I am the tiger and I will make you tremble, right? Looking at the toddler, it's just a naive example. It's a naive case. But think of having this attitude with wisdom, having the same attitude with right understanding. In which case, this verse that says, Tino loka hankate kape, having this attitude that I have the complete might, I have the complete control over how I feel, we can make the three worlds just tremble. The three worlds dance according to my will. It's not out of ego, it is out of understanding, it is out of wisdom to create a positive impact. So, you're not bad, 3 minutes past 8:30. So I could get to all the points that I wanted to discuss. So, we need to get to that state, or Lord Hanuman represents that state, wherein one who has complete control can make the three worlds tremble. Finally, let's just look at the table just to summarize all that we have discussed. The verse 22, we talked about surrender. We should do our actions with best of our ability and with the right attitude. And as we perform the action, let go of the ego, and then let us be realistic about the outcome. Outcome can be in our favor, may not be in our favor. That's the 22nd verse. 23rd verse was about self-confidence. We are who we are. We are not we are not what we think others think we are. We have the power to decide how we want to feel. External factors only act as triggers, but finally it is up to us to decide how to feel, how to react. And 24th verse is about devotion. When we surrender in devotion, it automatically negates fear. When we have true faith and trust, fear has no place in that mind. So that would be what I wanted to discuss today. Sorry for being slightly sorry for taking up 5 more minutes more than what we usually try to do. It's 8:35, not bad. So we'll now sing the Hanuman Chalisa. Give us a minute. We'll get the instruments and the mic ready, and then we'll chant the Hanuman Chalisa together, or rather sing the Hanuman Chalisa. Om Amriteshwariyai Namah. श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज, निज मन मुकुर सुधारी। बरना रघुबर बिमल जसु, जो दायक फल चारि। बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके, सुमिरा पवन कुमार। बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि, हरहु कलेस विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर, जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर। रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा, अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा। महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी, कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी। कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा, कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा। हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराज, कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साज। शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन, तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन। विद्यावान गुणीयति चातुर, राम काज करिबे को आतुर। प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया, राम लखन सीता मन बसिया। सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम, जय हनुमान। सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम, जय हनुमान। सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा, विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा। भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे, रामचंद्र के काज सवारे। लाय संजीवन लखन जियाए, श्री रघुवीर हरषि उर लाए। रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बढ़ाई, तुम मम प्रिय भरतहि सम भाई। सहस बदन तुम्हरो जस गावै, हस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावै। सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा, नारद सारद सहित अहिसा। जम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते, कभी कोविद कही सकै कहाते। तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा, राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा। सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम, जय हनुमान। सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम, जय हनुमान। तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना, लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना। जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु, लील्योताहि मधुर भय
बल जानु। प्रभु मुद्रिका मेली मुख माही, जलधि लांघि गए अचर जनाई। दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते, सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हारे तेते। राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे, होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे। सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना, तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना। आपन तेज संहारो आपै, तीनों लोक हाँकते कापै। भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवै, महावीर जब नाम सुनावै। सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम, जय हनुमान। सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम, जय हनुमान। नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा। संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावै, मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावै। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लावै, सोई अमित जीवन फल पावै। चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा, है परिसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता, असबर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम, जय हनुमान। सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम, जय हनुमान। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावै, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावै। अंत काल रघुवरपुर जाय, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाय। और देवता चित्त न धरई, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई। संकट कटै मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरे हनुमत बल पीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई। जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई, छूट ही बंधे महासुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, कीजे नाथ हृदय मह डेरा। कीजे नाथ हृदय मह डेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरन, मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहि सुरभूप। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। ओ माता सीता की जय, ओ माता सीता, भ्राता लक्ष्मण की जय, ओ भ्राता लक्ष्मण की जय, भरत और शत्रुघ्न की जय, भरत और शत्रुघ्न की जय। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। ॐ लोका समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु, लोका समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु, लोका समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ।